Hi, I'm Dave and I'll be cooking the Roman feast today. So I'm going to be making honey mushrooms today. So I'm going to start by pouring a bit of oil into a pan. Don't really know how much oil, but never mind. I'm just going to add a bit of... What is this? Magic. Just going to add honey to the pan. I know how excited you all are for this one. Unless you don't like honey or mushrooms. I'm just going to bring that to the boil. And I'm going to get the mushrooms and just cut them in half, make them easier to cook. Just going to, now it's boiling, I'm just going to add in the mushrooms. Okay, there's a lot of mushroom here. Maybe too much mushroom. It's fine, as long as they're coated. So it's got a nice glaze on the mushrooms.
You're really horrible.
Okay, let's try this.
Oh, got cold as well. I smell better with that now.
Right, it's just really sweet. Not too bad.
Oh.
Well, I like it.
It's alright. It was fine until I bit into the mushroom and then I could taste the mushroom.
At least it doesn't taste sluggy, like you said.
That's a consistency one.
So,
Yeah, it's my bread. Get your own bread.
get your own bread. So I've just got the lamb chops. I've just covered it with some seasoning of dill, thyme and mint. So I'm just going to put them in the oven now.
Some of your lamb chops.
Just leave them in there until they're cooked. So for me, I've already got the lamb in the oven. I'm just going to do it with a radish and asparagus salad. This is another recipe by the Roman writer Apicius, who wrote a lot of the recipes. The honey mushrooms also came with him, which received interesting reviews. All the radishes. So just cut them there. Just going to put them in the water. Hot water. Careful, kids. So I've cut my radishes now. I'm just going to do the same to the lettuce. Yeah, I love the lettuce. All the lettuce. Not all the lettuce. Ooh.
Oh, sorry. Okay, how's it making noise?
So I'm just going to garnish the plates with some lettuce, radish, and then I'll just do the little, what's it called? Asparagus. I was going to try and get everyone to recline on sofas, but oh no, that's not enough. But we couldn't do that because we don't have enough space. Well, the Romans used to recline as they were eating, especially in the richer houses. Peasants and smaller people, maybe not so much. I'm just going to top the asparagus with some ricotta, just because, why not? Eat the asparagus, all the asparagus. Asparagus? We'll roll with that. Sounds Roman. Thank you!
Oh, you just dolloped the ricotta on that.
Yeah.
Love the ricotta.
I thought you were going to smother it, not dollop
Dollop.
it. Should you do the Roman top me?
Yeah.
Because the empire was so big, there was a lot more available herbs and spices and stuff. So they were able to cook a lot more dishes with spices and things like that. Could be worse.
So with Dave's, he had honey mushrooms. For the main, I couldn't eat any of the meat, being a pescatarian, so it was just asparagus and salad. and then fruit for the dessert. Everything was nice. I quite enjoyed it. It was interesting. So I'm going to give him 7.
So Dave, with his Roman menu, he fed us honey slugs, basically mushrooms coloured in honey. They were disgusting. And then he fed us lamb chops and vegetables, which were good, apart from the meat wasn't cooked. So good try. And I'm going to give you a 6. I gave Dave 5 because the mushrooms, I didn't enjoy them. I didn't eat them, and then the meat wasn't cooked, and I don't like ricotta, so the ricotta on that asparagus wasn't enjoyable for me. And then, yeah, the grapes were nice, so hence the 5. Hi, I'm Beth. I'm going to be making some medieval food for us today. So let's get started. What I'm doing now is basically just making cooked root vegetables, and they're going to have a sauce poured over them. I'm not really going for the fancy medieval feast that you'd imagine, because I couldn't really get hold of a whole pig or a pheasant, so we're just going with veg today. So basically at this time they'd just be kind of, everyone would have their own kind of little garden, and they'd basically just eat what they could grow. So it's all kind of parsnips, carrots, that sort of thing. Obviously they would have eaten meat as well, like chicken was the most popular. So people would have had their own like little chicken cages in their garden. Okay, so I'm just putting it in the water now to cook. So the parsnips and carrots are already in there. So we've got carrots and parsnips, and then it's going to be a turnip, but when I went shopping they didn't have any, so we've got sweet instead. And then some radishes have gone in, and I'm just putting a pear in now. And then that will be it. And then after it's cooked, you put some vinegar and pepper and saffron on it. Let it cool, and then make a sauce later. And serve it with the sauce and bread that I made. Okay, so I'm just making the sauce for the veg now. It's basically just sweet red wine. So pour that in. And then got some honey. So the thing about medieval food is that they had like 4 groups of food. So they were in like categories of warm, cold, dry and moist. So what they made depended on what like qualities they had. This was especially relevant when people were sick, so they'd always try and get like if they didn't have enough moistness. I don't know how to say that. What they ate depended on like what kind of illness they had. So it's obviously this would be relevant to what they grew in the garden. Like they'd always have something to make them feel better. And then basically you just cook this till it boils, let it simmer for a bit, and then we'll add spices and stuff in afterwards. Yeah, spices were like a big deal in medieval period. It'd be like obviously saffron is a big one, but it'd be very expensive during that time. Like it still is quite expensive. But the rich upper class people would have it quite a lot. But obviously, kind of the food that I'm making today is kind of the poorer end of it. So we only have a little bit of it. Like there's some in the bread, and there'll be some in the sauce later on. Just pouring the sauce on the veg now. I don't know how much to put on. Okay, so in the sauce is the wine and honey from earlier, and then there's cinnamon and mustard and currants or raisins because I couldn't get currants yesterday, aniseed, which we didn't put in because we don't like aniseed, and fennel seeds, and then there's powder that I made last night. It's got like ginger and cinnamon and other stuff in because they made like other powders that they just added to their food, so they'd have it ready made. Okay, so I'm just making the bread for later now. Okay, so this is the pudding that I made. I think it's called apple mousse. It's basically just applesauce with 3 egg yolks and then a whole bunch of sugar and some cinnamon and ginger, and then you just cook it. And there we go. And it's actually really nice.
Lovely.
Really nice.
I'm intrigued by this. Mine's got vinegar in it, yeah.
I can't decide actually.
No, I don't think you can do some vinegar. Well, the vinegar's been put on the veg, hasn't it, before we've got to put in the sauce.
Yeah.
So when you eat a piece of veg, you can taste it. When you just eat the sauce, you can't. I don't know, it's alright. I don't not like it. I don't know what you don't get, no.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just think we're eating vegetables and like we're really spicy.
I just got something just blown in all that.
I should really like this bread.
But this recipe is almost like they've thought of every single spice they can physically get their hands on, so let's put it in a bowl.
That's literally what they did.
Shingles were really like showing off.
It was really saffron because it was so expensive and so hard to get a hold of.
Try it though, medieval. Do you like the sauce?
There's something in the sauce I really don't like.
It's like more
And yeah, it's
lime.
the cinnamon. With Beth's, I really like the salt and the menu that went in with it. But both dishes, the vegetables with the sauce on and the applesauce for the pudding had cinnamon in, and I really hate cinnamon. So that's not your fault, so I'm going to give you a 6 instead.
So with Beth's medieval feast, it was interesting to see the amount of spices and flavours they tried to get into one dish. So we ended up with a concoction of root vegetables, red wine and cinnamon, which granted the sauce was really good. The red wine was really good. And then we had applesauce, which is great. Who doesn't like applesauce? And the bread was really interesting. So I'm going to give you a 7.
I'm awarding the medieval dinner 6 marks. It was nice. I wouldn't have it again. It was very cinnamony and felt like just a pile of spices, and the vinegar on the vegetables were a bit dodgy. Having fun at archaeology. Did anybody see this coming when you signed up for the degree?